This is a day that the Lord has made. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Vanessa. Welcome to my live stream. Thank God it's Friday. I was too eager to get on live that I did not even title this, but this is like TGIF. This is a TGIF live stream. Oh, where is my water? I forgot it. I like when I get excited to go live that I forget everything. I did bring my phone, so my phone's right here. But I forgot to grab my water bottle. What is going on with my hair? Hey, Graham. Welcome back. How's it going? I am home alone right now, and it's Friday. Who wants to be alone on a Friday? Too bad Darlene did not come this morning to the live stream. I wonder if she will be here today. All right, Graham. So how many hours is that? Or is that because we're on different time zones? Like, when is that happening? Okay, 2 hours. Furious. Quit calling me baby boo. But welcome. He says I'm luminous like Mexican lights. I was trying to do something with my hair, but I said forget it. I bet. I mean, the way you explained it, it sounds so fancy, so romantic. Maybe I can go a little this way. No, that's not gonna help. I rearranged my room and now um, I don't have like even distributed lighting. He said, oh my goodness. Furious, how are you doing? Well, how long have you guys been dating, Graham? Furious says, let's hang out together. Take your phone and bring us to a coffee shop. I need to get a tripod to do that, Furious. Because the ones I have right now, like the one I'm on right now, is a floor tripod. I am not putting a floor tripod in the coffee shop. The other one that I use at my desk, it's ready to. I'll have to show you guys one day. It's basically falling apart and I'm making it stay together. Furious. Thank you. Okay. Graham says, I try. This is not just having fun. This one is a real connection this time. Yes, it sounds like it is, Graham. That's absolutely. I love that for you. I'm so happy for you. I don't know whose this phone number is, but they're going to have to leave a voicemail. Okay, so this is early on, so she is going to be very impressed. I'm glad you're here too, Furious. Thank you for being here. I wasn't sure if I was going to come on now or later, and I was like, what the heck? Let me just come on now. Graham. Maybe you need to explain somehow that you just wanted her to feel special and it won't be a regular thing. Maybe you just need to tell her. I think it is so communication is the key. Thank you, Furious. I don't do air kisses for anyone though. But thank you, Furious. Go and get a kiss from your wife, Furious. Oh my goodness. Not even for you, Furious. Yes, Graham. Because if you work off of assumption and you're saying this is the early days and that happened to me, I would think, oh, this is how it's always going to be. All right, Furious. Thank you for the clarification. I think I might have a new place to go to find somebody. I like talking about this when Furious is here. Graham says I'm straight to the point anyway, no playing games here. I like that, Graham. And she will like that too. I might have to go to the VFW or to an American Legion or to an Elks Lodge. I don't know if anyone has ever heard those. You guys are from other countries, so you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But they are places where I'm going to guess older men go to. They have dinner. You have to pay for your dinner. But those are 3 places I could go to find someone. You want a tutorial. You kiss your hand and you throw it in my direction. Be careful, it could be someone else. Yes, girl. Well, the VFW is like for the veterans who served in different areas of, you know, the Army, the Navy, whatever it may be. Elks Lodge, I really don't know exactly what they do, but I do think it's a men group, and they do offer scholarships to local high school students. So doing the dinner helps them to raise money. And I think the same goes for the American Legion. They're very similar. Oh goodness. I'm gonna ask my cousin, who she is about the same age as me and she is also single, if she wants to go with me. She'll probably say no, but I'm gonna tell her you're coming anyways. Although I do think the Lord is still working on me, so especially that I'm doing these Saturday morning Proverbs studies, I am doing a lot of self-reflection and realizing maybe I'm not ready for my future husband yet. Hi, Craig. Craig, this is more for adults. But as long as you don't act like a child, you won't get timed out. There it is. The single lady team, huh? I was talking to my son about the online dating app. Oh, so when I was looking, I think it was 2 days ago, I was looking through the dating app, the profiles of the men on there, and there was a new person, and I know who he is. I thought he was gay. Okay, so I definitely swiped left because he's not my type. And I told my son about him because my son knows who it is. He's like, Mom, I don't care. And he's like, I don't know why you're on a dating app. He's like, I would never go onto a dating app to find someone. I said, son, you're too young to know. When Graham says, I've seen videos where women are trying to pick up men at tool stores. They're busy looking for the materials they need for work. These women have no game. Okay, so you're saying that the men are not trying to find a woman because they're focused on work at that moment. Lennox, thank you for your comment. Furious. Be nice, Furious. Oh, wait a minute. Furious says, when single women team up, they automatically judge you for absolutely no reason. Okay, so going to the hardware store is not an option, is what you're saying. Oh, goodness. I just gotta let things naturally happen, I suppose. Okay, now I'm thinking about another conversation I had with someone. Oh, I went to the movie theater. My son and I watched, I think it's called F1. I think F1 will resonate with everyone. It is what's the word? It's a worldwide thing, F1. If you're a race car fan, yes, Furious is a speed car movie. I had no clue my son would be interested in this movie. We went. He likes cars. He is fascinated with them. Graham says women think they can flirt, but they can't. I have no clue how to flirt. So we went to the movie, and when we left, okay, one of the main characters, or he is the main character, is Brad Pitt. Anybody know who Brad Pitt is? Well, I never thought he was attractive. I watched his movies. Um, he never caught my attention in his earlier years. But in the F1 movie, after we left the movie, I told my son, I have a new celebrity crush, and it is Brad Pitt. I was telling him it's the actor. He's like, why are you crushing on a celebrity? I said, because there is no one in person that is catching my attention. There really is nobody that catches my attention, y'all. My son is based. My son is too young to understand. So, yeah. But that's what I'm praying for, is for the Lord to change how my eyes see, if that makes sense. I'm looking for someone who looks like Brad Pitt, or that looks like Oscar De La Hoya, or that looks like I don't know who else. I need to be more realistic. Adrian, welcome back. Thank you. Yeah, I need to be more realistic in what I am looking for physically. I was looking for a unicorn. They don't exist, huh? Yeah. And I'm realizing that now that I'm older, that the men my age or older, they they look old. They are old, and I just have to realize I'm old, okay? That's what I'm struggling with. Gabe is back. He says Brad Pitt's kids hate him because he's allegedly a horrible human being. Interesting, Gabe. I'm just saying he's attractive for his age. And I never had any attraction towards him when he was younger. Graham says, yep, lower those standards a little. You might be surprised. I need to. Yep, I need to. That's something that I'm willing to lower. Not their character, but the looks. Gabe says, I'm a huge boxing fan since age 13. So you knew who I was talking about when I said Oscar. Oscar the Golden Boy. So today I tried to look at the face, my dating app. I tried to look at men a little bit differently and just look at their bio instead of what they look like. But nothing today, y'all. There's no one today that's gonna fit what I'm looking for. What is that? Okay. Okay. Hey, Gia. So Graham is in a relationship now. I don't know if Furious is still here, but he's in a wet marriage. Gabe, what are you finding is a struggle to find someone? Because aren't you single? Gia, are you single as well? And what are you finding is your struggle? No, I'm at home. I'm at home. Gabe says, regardless, Oscar is a legend. In his prime, you saw packs of women doing girls' night out by attending his fights, all wanting to lust after him. Yeah. My mom is actually the one who brought Oscar into my attention. Or I don't know if I said that right. But they were interviewing him on TV. And she's like, Vanessa, this is the kind of man you need. Because of all the other good things about him, not just the boxing part about him, but the other stuff he was doing. And I was like, And then ever since then, I was an Oscar fan. So I was like 15 years old. Gia is single. And Graham says it's the fame they love, not the person. Gia says, Graham, you speak the fact. Gabe says, yes, I am. Funny, I bumped into my ex about a week ago and actually got the what was I thinking moment. Oh. How long have you been single, Gabe? Yeah, the fame. I think that's true, Graham, for the guys that are ugly. That the women just are after the fame, but Oscar De La Hoya, he's a good-looking man. When he was young, and now even when he's older. I mean, it could have been a combination of his looks and the fame. You know what I'm praying for? Have you watched the movie Shallow Hal? I'm praying for Shallow Hal's eyes. Is that what it was called? I'm praying for those eyes. Provisions and protection are the big attractions. I'm good, Gia. Provisions and protection. Gabe says Oscar's mom died of cancer when he was in his teens. He actually promised her he would go to the Olympics and be a world champion, which he did. Yep. I have his book. I have his CD when he sang. I have his exercise workout video that he made. Yeah, he was doing just as much as he was doing bad things, he was doing good things too. Okay, Graham, you know what I'm talking about. Well, I need those eyes that sees a not so attractive person, but that they will be absolutely attractive to me. Gabe says he won an Olympic gold medal as an amateur and became a 5 division boxing champion. Yep. Graham says yes, a woman wants a man that can provide for and protect her. That's what I need. Exactly. And that is hard to find. Gabe has been single for 14 months. How long have I been single? I want to say I've been single for most of last year and definitely this year. Although my ex has, contacted me a few times. We did meet up. He went with me. I invited him last year to a Christian conference. He went for a few hours, not for the whole thing. And that was like the last time I did actually see him. It was last year. Graham can't take care of. Graham is taken. Oh, you guys, you have been following me, and so I know you know that I did not have a maintenance person where I work at. There will be a new maintenance person starting Monday. I'm so grateful. Hopefully he has a good work ethic. Hopefully he does good work, follows through, meets deadlines. Gabe says he got teased a lot in pre-fight press conferences by his opponent, who teased him about his proclivity for wearing leather pants. When was that, Gabe? All the time or what? Gabe says he shut them up in the ring, though. Yeah, he did. He had that left punch. I remember he is left dominant. And it all started because he was bullied as a child. And his dad said, it's time to teach you how to protect yourself. So they took it to the boxing gym. And the star was born. Oh, Graham, you can't see anybody else's comments. Oh my goodness. I have a feeling this new maintenance man will have a good work ethic, but he might be coming with some drama from he's in the process of getting a divorce. I don't think he'll be a gigolo. He is, no, I don't think he will be. Gia says, Graham and I see only yours because you say facts. Gabe says, Ricardo Mayorga did tease him a lot and even said he's not a real vato. That name sounds familiar, Gabe. I'll have to look him up. Well, he sure has a lot of children, that's for sure. Ricardo Mayorga. Oh, yes, I remember him now. He always had like a cigarette. Yeah. Wow. Graham says, yep, my dad took me to karate class at 8 years old, and I became a national champion for 3 years and was selected for the under 18s England squad. So proud of that. Wow, Graham. I know you're always talking about the martial arts, but I did not know that. That is so cool. Gia says, rich people have the right to have lots of children because they are financially able to take care of them. Mm, I don't know if it's so much to say that they have the right, but they, like you said, can definitely support them. They have the privilege. They have the privilege of that because they can support them. I I kind of wish I would have had more kids. But I told myself I wouldn't have kids if I was any more kids if I wasn't married. So it just wasn't meant to be for me. Now if I find my future husband who comes with children, then so be it. Oh, okay, Gia. Yes. I'm glad that you are conscious of that. When I had my son, I was very financially stable at that point. I already had my master's degree. I already owned my second home. I had a brand new truck. I had benefits. By the time I decided to have my son, and I had a really good job. Graham says I was fighting at school and dad thought I would get sorted out at karate class and not want to fight anymore. uh, William, I don't know what he's saying. Is your name William Green? Daryl, welcome, welcome. Gabe says Gia, just like when they divorce each other strategically to save and exploit tax income loopholes. How's it going, Daryl? Vivian Kohler. I'm gonna have to check that out, Vivian. Daryl is doing good. I'm doing great. It is Friday, my favorite day of the week. Nothing can bring me down on a Friday. Gabe says, don't have kids. Deep down, something tells me I will father twins if I ever do. Just the gut feeling. That would be cool, right, Gabe? Vivian, give me a super chat and I will. I dated someone who was a twin. At first, I didn't believe that he was a twin. I don't know why. I just didn't believe him. His twin ended up being a girl, not a guy. And for some reason, I thought he had a guy twin. And it was interesting dating someone who's a twin. Kids are precious. Amen. And expensive indeed. Yep. Oh, it runs in your family. You have identical twin sisters. How cool. I don't think it runs in my family, but my uncle, his wife had twins. They are a few years younger than I am. They're not identical though. They're girls. And then my cousin, my younger cousin, his wife had twin daughters, and they are identical. Daryl has a 17-year-old daughter who will be 18. Oh, my son is the same as her age right now, but he just turned 17. She must be spoiled, Daryl, if she's your only one, because I know I spoil my son. He's my only one. I mean, I've taught him how to work hard and how to be a good, productive citizen, but at the same time, I do spoil him. Oh, wow. All right, Gabe will be right back. Graham says 11-year-old son Ralphie. Daryl says she's spoiled, but I tell her to work. Yeah, my son has to earn. Like, if I want to gift him something for his birthday or Christmas, I do spoil him, right? But the rest of the year, when he wants something, he has to earn it. He's got to do chores, or he's got to keep his grades up, or I tell him, you need to go to school every day. You can't miss a day. I give him different types of ways to earn something. Graham does not want any more. Couldn't handle having another I can't see. Yep, I hear you, Graham. And my son, he did have a job, and he went on his own and got a job all by himself. Like, I didn't make him feel like he needed to get one. He wanted one. So I was very proud of him for doing that. But then he did quit the job. He put in his 2 weeks notice right before summer started. And now he's thinking about getting another job. The system's fault, not mine. Oh, Graham. I don't remember if you were on the live stream when I told you guys my story. And I can tell you that I was very upset with how the system handled my situation with my son. But I had to do a lot of praying. A lot of praying. And I think it's better now. No father equals profit. Vanessa, is government job secure in the USA? It depends on what position you have, Gia, and what industry you work in, I guess. Because there is a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse in government entities. So it just all depends. For instance, if you work for the motor vehicle department, I think that's a secure job. At least in the office that is local for me, there's only 4 people in there, and there's always a long line. You know, they need those 4 positions. I hope that makes sense. Government cheese? Is that what you put in there, Daryl? Graham says, who'd want to work for the government? My morals, ethics, values, and principles wouldn't allow me to do that. Yeah, you're right, Graham. That's not for you. Gia says, suppose if someone is working in forest department as ranger, do they get secure jobs? Oh yeah. I think those are secure as long as they're not overstaffed, you know. Again, I can only speak for what I do know, and there is like a local government type job that I'm thinking about that's comparable to the forest, but we don't have a forest here, but it's comparable, and they only have like 2 or 3 employees there, and I think those 2-3 employees are secure in that job. I almost applied to a temporary part-time position with them, but they're like, it'll be on the weekends, there's gonna be a lot of activities. I was like, nah, I changed my mind. Gia says forest jobs are awesome. Daryl is laughing. Daryl says Graham eats graham crackers. Daryl, really? How old are you, Daryl? Furious says, hey, can I ask you something serious? Yes. Ask me whatever you want, Furious. You know I may or may not answer. Daryl says, instead of Forest Ranger, you can be the Arizona Dirt Ranger. Gia says, those 2 and 3 employees are lucky to have those government jobs. Daryl is in a mood right now. Oh my goodness. Dirt Ranger, what kind of job is that? It isn't. Daryl is in a mood. That's what he said, Gia. Yeah, it just depends on the government entity. For instance, okay, I work in a city that has government employees, right? They're called the city employees, but they work for the government basically. They don't necessarily do the best job at keeping up our parks and recreation nice. So if I was the mayor or the whoever, the head over those positions, I would go and clean up and be like, y'all need to go, and we need new staff here, and maybe even less staff, to bring in some good, exciting programs. Daryl says they are paying them government cheese for pay. Oh my goodness. Graham says government equals control the mind. That's exactly what it is. That's why I will not be on welfare. Remember that conversation earlier today where someone was saying that they live off of welfare checks? I'm not going to be on welfare so they can control me. Joe says they don't keep it up because they don't have to go and have fun. And Graham says, look it up. Furious says, excuse me, did you answer me? I left for a second. Furious, you said, can you ask a question? And I said, sure. I said, I may or may not answer, but you can ask. It's just, there's a lot going on. Oh, the question did not come through, Furious. I don't see it. Gia says, Vanessa, I checked the information on the Forest Department of the USA on their website, and the forest ranger has a salary of $3,000 per month. So is it a good salary there? It's a good salary if you already like own a home from years ago. Because right now rent is, I think it costs about $2,000 a month to rent a home. And even if you were to buy a home at the prices they cost right now, you're also looking at about $2,000 a month for your mortgage. So that would be great for me because I purchased my house before prices went up. So $3,000 a month, I would be living a really good life because my house payment is low. And I don't have any car loans. I don't have any student loans. I don't have any other debt except for my house payment. So $3,000 a month, I would feel rich with that. Daryl says Furious is furious because he made crown. Now, if you have a husband or a roommate and you're getting $3,000 a month, I think that would be good. I think about how well I have done for myself as a single person, a single mom, the only income. And if I had a husband, oh my goodness, I would be rich. If I had a husband and we put, our income together and put our resources together, I would be rich. But for now, the Lord has given me, He's given me enough. He's provided. Daryl says $3,000 a month plus a large box of government cheese. Daryl, do you get high? I don't know what is going on with you and government cheese. Gia says, I can live in the car if I had a government job in the USA. Okay, I went through a phase in my YouTube watching journey, and I was looking at people who are homeless, living in their cars. They have everything they need in their car. They have a gym membership to a gym that has a shower. They go take a shower at the gym every day. So it's possible, Gia. Graham says, wasn't you getting child maintenance, child support, whatever you call it in America? I do, but it is not nearly, it doesn't really help with anything, Graham. It's nice. I don't ever count on it. Sometimes it doesn't show up. So it's helpful, but I don't depend on it at all. I never Every time I bought a house, I never included the child support. Anytime I've done anything, I've never included it as income because it's just not consistent, and I don't know if it would stop, and I'm not going to have it forever either. Daryl says, I'm just hiding down. Want to laugh. Oh, you lived in your car before, Daryl? Yes, Graham, it does help. And I could have gone back to ask for more, but I didn't. Because I was issued the child support right before prices and everything just went so high. But I didn't want it to be about child support when I went to court. I wanted it to be about me having custody of my son and having it on paper. That's what it was about for me. Daryl says living in his car was not fun. You cried every day. Fury says, could you have a gay friend? I mean, a serious gay, not only a suspicious princess looking guy. A serious gay, like someone who is really gay? Let me tell you this, Furious. In high school, I had a lot of gay friends. I didn't know they were gay at the time. They didn't never say anything about it. And as soon as we kind of graduated from high school, they all came out of the closet. And I'm like, what was this? I was just attracting friends that were gay. But now that I'm older, because I am following Jesus Christ, I really don't know if I could have a gay friend. I know that's their life, but I don't want to support someone who is gay. And maybe I'm wrong for thinking this way, but I feel like if I had a gay friend, that's me saying, I agree with you being gay. I'm okay with it, when I'm really not. Gabe says, did I hear you correct? Did you say you had 2 houses when you had your son? By the time I had my son, I had owned 2 homes. I sold, the first one, and then I owned my second home. But yes. I never wanted to be, and I still kind of don't. I don't want to be burdened with being a landlord. So I've never done that, and I don't want to. Daryl says, why? Graham says, many men go through the stage of living in their cars when they are being dragged through divorce or family court. It is what it is. Yes. I think it's safe to say that every guy I was with, which there was 3 relationships I had, I think they've all lived in their car and been homeless at some point. Thankfully, I'm thankful to the Lord I've never been homeless. Graham says, I couldn't, no thanks. And Daryl says, that gay demon would try to pull you in. Fury says, okay, understandable. I don't think like you, but I can understand. Daryl says it's spiritual. Gia says, I wish Vanessa should be for a stranger. Graham says, they are not wired in the head correctly, so they can stay far away from me. Yeah, Furious, I think you're the only one that's thinking the way you do in this group. I'll be kind and respectful to gays and lesbians, but I'm not going to be their friend, because I'm not easily influenced, so I'm not worried about that. I just, like I explained to you guys earlier, I don't want them to think I'm in agreement with it. Graham says they are not, oh, wired in the head correctly. Gia says, Vanessa, when you were 20, that time having government jobs in your country was easy. When you are 20, I have had a government job once. I worked there for 7.5 years in different departments because I wanted to move myself up in the finance org chart, if you will. It wasn't necessarily easy because I was in finance, and so finance is busy. Doesn't matter if you work for a private company, nonprofit company, or government. Finance is really busy and requires, I think it requires smart people. Daryl says you can love, respect. I don't agree with you. Scripture says, how can two walk together unless they agree? Can you explain that a little bit more, Daryl? Gia says, were. Graham says, I will be civil, and that's as far as it goes. No friends with that sort. Yes. Same here. Fury says, but how can you know that your friend is gay? I mean, nobody likes cloned like that much. Okay, so let me tell you guys about my gay friends. I had 4 gay friends, but I didn't know they were gay, okay? One of them I met through my cousin because his sister was friends with my cousin, and so we kind of would hang out at school sometimes together. And he I don't know, I just didn't think he was gay. They talked normal, they didn't talk girly. And maybe now they might talk girly, I don't know. I haven't talked to them now that they're older. The other one, I don't know how, but he was friends with my friend. And so she was my best friend, so he would tag along with us sometimes at lunch. Maybe I kind of sensed he was a little bit gay, but he was more my friend's friend than mine. The other one, I'm trying to remember them. He had moved from Los Angeles to our high school, right? And he was kind of cute. He was the only gay friend I thought that I'm going to tell you guys about that I thought was kind of cute. He had this perfect hair. He got so mad if we tried to touch his hair. And when that happened, that's when I think I started to kind of think he was gay. But he would hang out with us. He was fun. He was funny. And then the other guy was my friend for many, many years. He would bring me roses. He would ask me to the school dance. I just didn't think he was gay. All right, what else? Gabe says, I bought my first home at 39. I had help from my parents and siblings with co-signing and all. Now that I'm older, I always thank God the gift of family every time. Amen to that, Gabe. That is so awesome. Yeah, I think I was 24 years old when I got my first house. I didn't have any help, not with the down payment, nothing. Not with furnishing my home, nothing. I had my savings already. I had a plan. I wasn't even expecting to buy a house. I just went for it. But I will say that my very first car I bought when I was 18. My older brother did co-sign for me. And I'm so thankful for him for doing that. I never, missed a payment. I never let him down. Then when I was 20, I was able to buy my first brand new car on my own. I was so excited for that. Daryl's talking about the gay people. Angelina. What is a Klondike bar? Gia says finance jobs are indeed busy and hard, mostly brain work, surely for intelligent person. And Graham says 4. That's more than a coincidence. Daryl says bad company corrupts good morals. Yeah, the first gay friend, I met him in 6th grade. And I would go he used to go to my family parties. I used to go to his family parties. He was very respectful. He would not come into my bedroom. Even though it was just all girls, all of us hanging out together, and plus him. The other ones I didn't meet until I was, I don't know, like a 10th grader. Gia says Gen Z can't buy a house and car. I'm from Gen Z. Daryl says eat chicken. Gabe says never trust a man prettier and more put together than you. But see, that was a time where they were trying to hide it. So they didn't look, they didn't act, they didn't talk like they were gay. Graham says apparently you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Yeah, I was not gay or lesbian. I had a lot of friends, not just them. I had the athletic friends. I had the band nerd friends. I had my Mexican from Mexico friends. I had my Indian friends from the reservation. I had the gothic friends. I had the smart, really smart kid friends. What else? I was an all-around person. So I had a lot of different friends. I don't know how that happened, but yeah. And now here I am, such a loner. Gia says, Vanessa, if you purchased your own car by all yourselves, it means you are not Gen Z. You know what? I looked it up, and I think I am. Hey Siri, what years are Gen Z?
It happened from 1998 to 2012.
Oh, I'm before Gen Z then. Whatever the before Gen Z is, that's what I am. Sanjit, hello, I'm doing good. $1998, huh, is when Gen Z started. That's what I am. I'm a millennial. Yep. Hi, Robert. How are you? It is 4:25 for me. What time is it for you? But Gia, I can say that people my age that I know still have never had a brand new car. They still have not ever owned a home. So it has to do with just being responsible, financially responsible, no matter what age you are. Graham is a millennial. Gabe says, same way I believe a woman should always smell better than a man. Robert says it's 6:25. Okay, so you're 2 hours ahead. Sanjeet, this is, the Lord made me wonderful. What can I say? Graham says the young ones are priced out of the housing market. That's for sure. And Robert says this is his first time coming here. Well, welcome to my live stream. We're just hanging out. Nothing crazy. I'm not, what do you call it? I'm not very interesting compared to all the other people I see on live stream. Hey, Jack, do I know you? Sanjit says, thanks be, or God bless you. Gia says, Vanessa, I agree. Not everyone from your gen has car or house. Robert says, oh, I get it. You're a woman of God. I respect that. Thank you. Did you quickly look at my main page, Robert? Okay, you guys, I went to the store earlier today and I was at the register paying right by the, the entrance, the exit. And I'm not going to say colors. I'm not going to say anything. Just say that a couple walked in. They smelled like 100% strong smelling weed. And I wanted to say, and you guys, it took everything in me. I wanted to be like, wow, you sure smell it a strong. That weed smells so strong when somebody who uses it walks in. I wanted to say something to that effect. And they were still hanging around the register. I don't know what they were doing. They just went and got straight in line as soon as they walked in. Or I wanted to say something like, I'm glad I don't smell like weed when I walk in. It took everything in me not to say anything. Robert says, yes, I'm single, furious. Okay, I don't know who Jack is and not sure what is going on in here. Graham. Furious, are you... If he's still here, oh, there you are. Furious, you ask me the most interesting questions. They're not interesting, but they're very odd. So, what made you ask me the question about a gay friend? Furious says, Vanessa, a Christian suitor for you. Bro looks good. Send her your phone number by email. He doesn't even have a picture. How does he look good? I think you need glasses, Furious. Gabe says, Vanessa, ever been to Phoenix? Did you see a phoenix bird there? Is the bird indigenous to the city? I have been to Phoenix. Actually, I don't know if I've actually seen a bird, the phoenix bird. And I can't tell you if the bird is indigenous to the city or not. I'd have to look it up. Hey, lady. Robert is saying he's not gay. To Furious Angel. Graham says, Jack, does God speak to you directly through the clouds and car number plates as well? Furious says, change my mind. He's... Lady says, how are you? I'm doing good. Graham has a good memory. God in not real. Okay, Jack, what country are you from? What age are you? Robert says, I'm not gay, I'm straight. Jim, hello. He's here to help. Jim, I was just saying how I went to the store today and this couple walked in and you could clearly tell they had been smoking weed, that they were sitting in a car full of weed smell. And I'm thinking, I really wanted to say something. There was a lot of people though in the line. And I just kept saying, Vanessa, keep quiet. Keep quiet. Lady says hello to Graham. Gia says, Vanessa, I like Victorian houses from your country. You know what, Gia? I need to look those up. I kind of like the, I don't know if this is what they're called. Let me just say, I would really like a small, how would I want? I have a drawing of what I would want my floor plan to look like, and I would want porches, and I would want a balcony, and I would want a really big kitchen dining area for sure. I need to look up Victorian. Gabe says, Vanessa's favorite saying, although the world may be round, we are still trapped in the square. Oh goodness. Robert says God is real. And Jack says 305. Jack, I think you're in the wrong live stream. Jim says hello to Lady. Graham says great, thanks. Fury says, I know that the Holy Bible doesn't allow this. That's why I asked you. You're testing me. Are you furious? Omar Plummer is here. How are you doing, Omar? No, I have not, Lady. And Lady, she never ceases to surprise me with her dessert questions. Gia thinks Victorian houses are beautiful. Gabe says, to the wee people, you tell them, Vanessa, get away from me. You pop breeder. Lady says, yep. Omar says, hello, sunshine. How are you? Moon. Shine. Spreading love like the stars. Okay, Omar Plummer. By the way, Omar, how is your hand doing? Did it heal up pretty good? Gia says, and so are Queen Anne houses. They are beautiful. And Jim says, really, Gabe? Lady says, ever heard of a Kool-Aid pie before? Omar Plummer, peace and love. Cheers to the chat. Robert says, I'm beautiful. Thank you. Graham says, Lady Sky, no, I haven't. Doesn't sound good, though. I don't know if you're welcomed here, Jack, because you've already had some strange comments. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, Jack. I'm just going to say Jack. It feels weird saying it twice. Omar P says, yep, it surely did heal nicely, but I still had to take time while doing certain things or work. I'm glad to hear that, Omar P. No, Gia, you're confusing that Omar Plummer with the other Omar. It's Omar Z is the other one who has the plastic bags. will somebody report Lady Sky if you know how to? It's unwanted content. Let's see what did. Yeah, it's all right, Gia. Robert wants to know how old I am. I'm in my 40s, Robert. Graham. Yeah, I think it's the other one, Graham. Lady already knows that this is not the live stream to be putting that kind of content on here. Omar P says there's always that mix whenever we're on the same chat. Yeah, there's a mix up. Robert says, wow, you don't look like you're in your 40s. Graham says, Lady Sky, come on, you know Vanessa doesn't appreciate the emojis. And Gabe says, you tell them you hate the weed smell, they might call you Four Eyes. Nobody has ever called me Four Eyes, Gabe. Who knows? It could be a first, right? No, you didn't say that, Omar. I mean, Gabe. Omar P says that's why most time I don't really stay. Robert. No. Okay, what does someone who's in their 40s, what do they look like? Gabe's, oh, I already read that. I think weed smells like a skunk. If you know what a skunk smells like, that's what weed smells like. So, that's what I think. Omar says, give Graham a blue jacket. What does that mean, Omar P? Thank you, Robert, for your compliment. What is a blue jacket and why, Omar P? Okay, is there a full moon? Because people are kind of being weird today. Omar, I'm my own moderator because there's not a lot of people here to worry about. Gabe, has anyone called you Four Eyes? Oh, goodness. Omar, explain, why do they need a blue jacket? Oh. Okay, I know what Omar was saying, to give you guys the blue wrench for moderator. I know what you meant now, Omar Plummer. The wrench, yep. Gabe said he never wore glasses. He was in the back of the class and could not read the board. That's what I'm doing right now, Robert. I don't have shoes on and my feet are kicked up. Exactly what I'm doing right now. Omar Plummer says just that I've seen some comments. Yes. But you guys can report the comment yourself and it removes it, I believe. Gabe, they don't smell like blueberry. They smell like skunk. Graham says, I think Vanessa can handle the chat. And Gerald says he didn't read the board. The board read him. Yep. Oh no, Daryl is back with cheese. Daryl, do you like eating cheese? Omar Plumber says they can block them more than you do. And Graham says he'd be ruthless with the wrench. Okay, has anyone ever taken the block cheese, cut a slice of it off, put it in the microwave for like 5-6 seconds? It is so good. Probably not the safest way to eat it because the microwave is supposed to not be good for us, but that is so good to eat melted cheese. And I learned that from one of my coworkers. One of my coworkers, it was my first like office job. I was 20, I don't know, 20, young, early 20s. And I had lunch with my coworkers in the break room. And that's when she put it in the microwave. I was like, that is so weird, but it was good. Gabe said, got it from the dispensary yesterday. It's legal in Canada. It says blueberry, not skunk. Daryl says, government cheese, put the whole 5 pounds in the microwave. I don't know about that, Daryl. Just a slice at a time. Graham says, I do like cheese, though. I never put it in the microwave. I was eating some like that the other day. I hadn't done it in years. And I was like, let me do this. Let me try this again. My feet don't smell like cheese. Nope. They do not. I don't know if you guys were on the live stream, but I had found a lady who does YouTube videos. She's called the Meticulous Manicurist. Meticulous Manicurist. Something like that. She came across my feed and she does pretty awesome manicures. No, pedicures. I get them mixed up. I think a pedicure is for your feet. So I emailed her to see if I could get an appointment with her so that my feet and toes will be even more nice than what they are now. Not that they're that great, but Graham says, I find cheese and eggs a horrible combination. They'll love cheese and eggs separately. Graham, I like cheese on my breakfast burritos. So it's going to have eggs, potatoes. It might have eggs, bacon. It might have eggs, sausage, or even chorizo. Egg and chorizo will have cheese. Oh, it's so good. Robert, have you seen my feet and toes? Daryl says hammer time. Oh. Here comes the hammer time. Hammer toes. Graham says hate tomatoes, though love tomato soup. Graham, so you're like, what, 30 minutes away from your date? Graham says hate tomatoes, I love tomatoes. I like tomatoes, but I don't know if I've ever had tomato soup. Robert says, no, I haven't seen your feet and toes. So how can you say my feet and toes are beautiful? Joe says, I believe a woman should have beautiful feet and toes. Oh, goodness. Okay. I don't keep my feet that great because I just don't. But I have seen some bad looking feet. I think Oh, it's tomorrow. Okay. All right, Graham. When I was at work the other day, somebody was looking for me because I posted on the office door that I was out on the property. So they went to look for me because they wanted an application to move into the apartment. And so I was walking behind her. Her heels were so badly cracked that they were bleeding. I wanted to laugh, but at the same time I was like, Lord, help her. Help them feet. And I was like, I am so glad my feet do not look like that. I'm glad you're having fun, Robert. Oh, it was awful. No, I do take care of my feet. I could do better, but I'm just saying they're not that beautiful. There are people with the foot fetish, Graham. I don't know if I have a fetish. Let's see. No, I don't think I have a fetish. Gabe says, I finally destroyed some really good ribs last week. Nice. What is today? Okay, Gabe, that 4th of July, I did have ribs. They were good. They were made by the store deli. They were pretty good, though. I can't complain. I have yet to make my own ribs, though, ever since we were talking about that. Daryl says feet look like teriyaki chicken. Graham says, I do, but I'm not telling. Okay. Thank you, Graham, for keeping it to yourself. Robert says there are some people who have a foot fetish. And Gabe says it's Rib Fest in the city. Oh, that should be really fun, Gabe. Gia is still here. She says, Robert, what is your fetish? And Graham says, I had pork ribs today with spicy noodles. That sounds good. Daryl says feet look like bare up, broken asphalt. Yep, that's what they look like. Those cracked heels that I had. Graham says, yeah, you really don't want to know. Robert says, I don't tell nobody what my fetish is. I keep it to myself. Good. But you keep talking about feet and toes over there. Maybe I don't know if it's a fetish, but maybe just an attraction. I'm eating mixed vegetables and sauce and chicken. That sounds good, Daryl. I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner. You guys are making me hungry talking about ribs, talking about chicken and vegetables, and what else? A woolen cloth? I don't know, Gia. It is. I bought it like this. It's kind of like. I don't know what the material is. I have it also in a black color. It reminds me of yarn. Like a yarn, those blankets that are made out of yarn. Daryl, amen. My future husband, hopefully he takes care of my feet. Chicken feet for dinner. And Robert says, let's get Vanessa's mind off of food. Gia says, yes, it is. Yarn. Oh, okay. Yep, that's what it is, Gia. This is my favorite color. I think it looks the best on my skin tone. So I do buy a lot of tops with this color. If I find it. Oh, you have some little blankets, Graham. I actually do not. Well, I have a baby blanket that I was given to me as a baby, and then I took a baby picture with my son in that blanket, and hopefully we can give it to his child, and my grandkids will get to take a picture in that blanket. Because you know, when I was born, they didn't have ultrasounds. So they didn't know if I was going to be a boy or a girl. So the blanket is yellow and like a light green color. So it could go for either. And my son's godmother made him a blanket. So he has that one. Those are the only two like wool blankets we have. And they're small though. Gia loves it. Daryl says boiled rat soup in tomato sauce. Oh yeah, earlier Graham was talking about tomato soup. Oh my gosh, Daryl. Thank you, Gia. Graham says yes, for my camping. The thick brown queen size blanket is my favorite. Oh yeah, that does sound like perfect for camping. Gabe says he has a satin sheet for his bed. I have satin pillows or silk pillows. I don't know what they are. They're not my favorite because they slide everywhere. Daryl's blanket looks like a light green tortilla. Graham does not like sleeping bags. Oh my goodness, Daryl. Daryl, how old are you? By the way, you guys, Daryl has his own channel if you would like to subscribe. Daryl, your comments today do not match up the videos that you post. Grandma is saying, do you have a sleeping bag for extreme conditions? Though I'm not a big fan. Oh, you have one. Yeah. That's good. Always good to be ready, prepared. This is another side of Daryl. Oh, goodness. Is Omar Plummer still here or is he gone? Robert says, what type of music do you listen to? Robert, check out my shorts. Okay? I don't know if you know how to click on my profile, the picture, and then it'll take you to my page. Click on shorts. That's the type of music I like. Gerald says, I like to laugh and see others laugh. Oh, goodness. Yep. This is my time to be silly when I'm on my live stream. Gabe says, Daryl, very funny because this is the first time I have kept my facial hair beard for longer than 5 months. Yeah, we don't even know what Gabe looks like. Really. Daryl says, what color are your shorts? Graham says, I'm prepared for societal collapse. I will survive. I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. Gia says, Vanessa, have you ever seen Moomin Valley cartoon? I'm gonna look that up, Gia, because I don't know what that is. Moomin Valley. Eye of the Tiger. Okay, that's another song. No, I have not, Gia. I'm gonna show you guys. Is this what you're talking about, Gia? Hold on. I need to put down the brightness. Gia, is this what you're talking about? Robert, how old are you? Okay. Okay, I don't know if I'm just too old or if they just don't air this in the United States, but I've never seen the Moomin Valley. And I stay up to date with cartoons because I have my niece and nephews and my son. Okay, Robert is in his 50s talking about the twist and shout. I like to dance to it even though it's not really my genre of music. But you know what that song reminds me of, Robert, is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Daryl says that's Gia's family. Graham has seen the Moomins. Gabe says I like Futurama. It's funny in many different levels. Gia says yes, Vanessa, but I like the old version. And Robert says, okay, I've already read that. Graham says, Gia, good call. She says, Vanessa, when I listen to your voice, you remind me of Moomin's mommy because your voice sounds like that, very motherly. Do you agree, Graham? Since you watched it. Daryl says, I like soul love music, R&B. Okay, is Futurama part of the Moomins, Gabe, or are you talking about something else? Robert says, I bet Vanessa can twist her hips to Chubby Checkers. That's a good workout, too. May Florence says watermelon butt cakes. The Tootsie Roll. I don't know why that's making me think of the Tootsie Roll. Gia still watches the Moomins. Okay, let me look up Futurama. Oh, goodness. Oh, my. Oh, there's no way I was watching this. That is freaky looking. You like this, Gabe? Daryl is laughing. Graham says, gee, the little girl in the red dress used to freak me out as a child. Okay, so the girl has one eye on this Futurama. That's weird. The all-seeing one eye. Gabe says, yes, the robot bender Rodriguez is the funniest. I'm trying to think what cartoons I like. I think cartoons are definitely a guy thing more so than a girl thing. I'm not really into cartoons as an adult. Gabe says, keep an open mind. It's based on the future. Ever seen Trapdoor? Okay, the future. I used to watch the Jetsons. They were very futuristic. Trapdoor. Let me pull that up, Graham, because I need to see it before I answer. No, I haven't seen this either. The blue blob, there he is. He looks like the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz. Oh, he's talking about that Futurama. And then Gia says, Moon and Valley is made in Finland. And actually, it was in Finnish language. Later, they translated it into English. Then I'm pretty sure my sister Krista has watched that. Robert says, I'm a fan of old school. Daryl says, Trapdoor doesn't sound kosher. Graham says, yep, that's the one. I do like animated movies. Not anime, but animated movies. Such as, none are coming to mind. Like when they animated The Grinch. I can't think of any. Oh yeah, my son grew up watching SpongeBob. I did not like that. But he would be watching it at my parents' house, who were his babysitter. And I'd be like, I don't want him watching this. Daryl says Roadrunner, Coyote, Bugs Bunny. Grant says animation, yes. And Gia says, Vanessa, which one was your favorite cartoon when you were little? I grew up watching Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Berenstain Bears, I think. I did watch Looney Tunes. I remember I liked Tweety Bird. I do like Peanuts with Charlie Brown. I can watch that every holiday. I'd have to look them up and research because I cannot remember any names right now. Ever watched King of the Hill? No, I don't like King of the Hill either. I take things too serious, I guess. You know, I'm a square. Right, Gabe? And I just can't get into those kinds of things. Oh, I like Smurfs. As a matter of fact, there's a new Smurf movie. I definitely want to watch that. Graham says anime originally known as Japanimation, though apparently that was racist. Daffy the Duck. Robert says I love Looney Tunes. Gia says Looney Tunes was awesome. Tweety Bird is still my favorite. Robert says I love the Scooby Doo old classic. I remember watching them. He-Man. Yeah, I remember my brother had the action figures from He-Man. What else? I like Garfield. Did I say that already? I think I've told you guys before, even though I don't have a pet, I like watching the pet movies, like A Pet's Life, Zootopia. There's those Wild and Crazy Animal movie that's out right now. What is it called? There's like a fox and I think there's a snake. The Wacky Races, Spider-Man. I've never been a Spider-Man fan. Paddington Bear, I've watched those movies that have come out. Wacky Races, I don't know what that is. Or you're talking about, no, I don't know what Wacky Races is. Really, Gabe? Really good morals and story. Okay, I'm surprised at myself, but I used to watch Bart Simpson. I think it reminded me, so Bart reminded me of my younger brother, and Lisa reminded me of me. I think that's why I was so fascinated with watching that. I love the Super Friends, Dr. Dolittle, Beavis and Butthead. I watched Beavis and Butthead. Oh my gosh, they were so dumb. But I was more like a teenager at that point. Graham says, I still see the propaganda in those animated movies. You know, whenever I watch Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, The Little Mermaid, I don't see the propaganda. I didn't, and I don't know if I will. But I do not like how they have switched up the characters when they make the movie. I don't like that. Love and Marriage. Gia knows Beavis and Butthead. Keenan and Kel. Okay, Robert, are those two the ones that made the movie about the burger restaurant? Daryl says he sees a propaganda. Okay, Al Bundy's not cartoon, but I did watch Al Bundy. Yep. Good Burger, yes. Yeah, they're not cartoons, but yeah, I did watch them. I used to like watching Nickelodeon, where they had the slime. Do you guys remember that? That was like an after-school show that I used to watch. Daryl says he watched The Jeffersons. What other cartoons? Graham. For those with eyes to see and ears to hear. Robert says, I love Mr. Ed, the talking horse. I may have watched a show or two, Robert. Gabe says, were you a fan of Mad TV. Name some shows that came on there, Gabe, because I'm not recalling anything. Robert says, I love Speed, Buggy, cartoon. Gia says, my favorite cartoon is Tweety Bird and Mickey Mouse and Moomin Valley. The classic versions. Okay, another cartoon I remember with my son is Mickey Mouse. It would start out with MICKEYMOUSC, Mickey Mouse. And then they would dance hot dog, or something like that. Graham says, I know my dad loved Top Cat when he was a child. And Robert says, I can keep you company if you want me to. Robert, where do you live? He's saying I can keep you company. Omar P is still here. He said Thundercats. Daryl says Underdog. Gia says, I remember that song. Hot dog, all problems. Graham says, in his mom's basement. Robert says, I'm from Florida. You can't keep me company from Florida, Robert. I need someone who lives in Arizona to keep me company. Although, how do you like living in Florida, Robert? It sounds like a really good state. Gabe says, how about classic Tom and Jerry? Yes. You know, a really old show I like to watch are the Three Scrooges. Is that what they're called? The Three Stooges. Hot digital dog. Robert says okay, and Gia is laughing at Daryl. Daryl, you're in Arizona right now. Where at specifically? Larry, Moe, and Curly. Yes, I like to watch those shows. I still like to watch those. They make me laugh. No, Florida is actually very Republican. And the governor seems to be handling the state very, very well. You're in Arizona at the hot dog stand? Is that what you're saying? Graham says, oh no, that's California. Yes, California is very lefty. California is at the point where I would I would start a petition to say, can we annex away from California? Because they are ridiculous over there. Gun show, welcome. Yeah. Just when I think California cannot get worse, they do. Who is Katie Hobbs? Florida Palmetto City? Gun show, we're talking about cartoons, we're talking about old shows, basically. We're talking about everything. Oh yeah, Katie Hobbs is a some kind of politician, right? Let me pull her up. See, I don't even know who our governor is. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm glad that Arizona is not nearly as bad as California. Mm-mm. I will say I really wish Carrie Lake would have won. Yep, I live in Arizona. Gun Show said he grew up on good cartoons and TV shows. Graham says I prefer Katie Hopkins. Now she's funny. I voted for the Republican governor, which would have been Carrie Lake, but she did not get. So I don't even know who actually won because they're not Republican. Let's see who is there. I've seen her in a few interviews, but actually no, I've never even seen the Arizona governor. I was thinking about the attorney general. That's who I've seen on TV for Arizona. Yeah, I don't even know who it was. Well, now I know. Graham says most find here rude, though I find her hilarious. I've never really paid attention to Katie Hopkins, Graham. And says, how did your painting come out? It came out beautiful. Better than I expected. As I started it, I was like, this is not going to look good. But when I was done, it was a masterpiece. Robert says, this is my first time coming in your chat room. Yep, you already told us that, Robert. Graham says, voting is the illusion of choice. And Robert says, I wanted Kamala Harris to win and not Trump. Oh, no, Robert. Mm-mm. You can't keep me company even if you lived in Arizona. I'm a Trump supporter. Robert, I'm curious, why did you want Kamala or Kamala to win, however you say it? Great. Gabe says, I told you last time here, our two countries are intertwined. That's why over here it's your business interest to know American stuff. Yeah, you did say that, Gabe. Daryl says, check. And Robert says, you're a Trump supporter. Yes, I am, 100%. As a matter of fact, Trump is the reason I watch the news. Trump is the reason I turned Republican. Graham says, oh, do we really have to share this world with these people? May says, holy, pray unto what? May, I don't know what you're saying, but you're in the wrong place. You're not mature enough for this chat, May Florence. My name is Vanessa. I don't have a nickname. People call me V, but I don't have a nickname. Graham says, "Where's the Epstein guest list? I will leave it there." Graham, okay, if you were to see the list, Graham, what do you want to be done about the list? I'm just curious. Trump has already made it clear that he kicked Epstein out of his spa. He's like, "Don't come back." Graham says we will never see the list. We might not in our time, Graham, but it will probably be disclosed many, many years later, decades later. Just like JFK's information is being disclosed, 50 some years later. I didn't even know that Epstein had died. I didn't know that until this year. Guys, I'm trying to think what I should do for dinner. Gabe said, "Vanessa, the list must be released right now. America is starving for a true scandal." Gia says, "I watched Sleepy Joe videos. They were funny." And Graham says, "I don't trust any of them." Yeah, I guess I I guess I never really got into the Epstein case or whatever, so I'm not even sure what it's about. Other than he had his own island and took women there, right? And so the list is going to be the men who went to the island, or I don't know. It's not something that interests me, basically. Okay, where were the parents of these little girls? That's what I wonder. Why would the parents allow that? They sold their girls. I think that's the person who really needs to, that's who we really need to find the list of, is the parents to these little girls. That's just so sad. Robert says there was a lot of minors at those Diddy parties. Oh. Yeah, that's another, I guess, similar. Would you say that's similar to Epstein or not as bad? Oh my goodness. That's what Robert heard. Those are the people who don't have Jesus. They need Jesus. I could never, it doesn't matter what I'm going through, I am not selling my child for money. Graham says adrenochrome. Gia says indeed they truly need Jesus Christ. Robert says we all need Jesus. Yep. Yep, we do. I was watching a Netflix show. I already forgot what it was called. It was the name of the person they were talking about, that she went on a family cruise and never came back with them. And for 20 some years, they've been looking for her, and they think, and she was 23 years old at the time, they think she was taken to be sex trafficked. Jesus, Vanessa, it's really sad that those parents did that to their own children. And Cesar is here. Cesar, right in English. Jesus says, Robert, we have Jesus Christ. Yep. Is that Casanova? Or who's doing the hearts? Graham says, it would make you throw up if you knew how many children go missing each year. Evil exists. Yes, it does. It does, it does. And Robert says, hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. Yep. You guys, I'm sitting here reading the comments, but I'm thinking about dinner. What am I going to make? I have chicken. I could make some homemade flour tortillas. It's not good to be well adjusted to an insane world. You're right. You are right. Chicken heads roasted. You're still here, Daryl. No, I don't want to be liked by the world, you guys. I want to be how do I say this? Gia says, Graham, oh no, I get it. I saw documentary videos about children missing in the USA. But are they also missing from other countries? Yeah, I don't mind not being liked. You're not made to fit in, you're born to stand out. That's right. I was not made to fit in. Graham says yes, happens all over the world. And Gia says, now I understand why everyone in the USA does not let their children wander on the streets alone. But I think it's everywhere, Gia. Um, but here in the US, I think it's been worse. No, I don't know. I better not say that. I don't know the statistics to say if it's worse now or not. Yep. Oh, thank you, Sesad. Um, my son was attached to me until he was like 10 years old. I would not leave him, let him wander off away from me. Um, I was very, very protective. By the time he was 10, he was a pretty big kid. So then I felt a little more comfortable to let him go into the bathroom by himself. Robert says, do you do Bible study in your chat room? Yes. Monday through Friday mornings. I do. Graham says, you probably didn't get my last comment. YouTube doesn't like too much truth. I probably, if you didn't hear me read it, no, I didn't, Graham. Which is weird. Oh, Graham. Are you from the UK? Because, or close to it, or would you know? Someone came in the other morning and said that there was a lot of restrictions on being on the internet that was just like this week it passed. Okay, so England is different than the UK. I'm horrible with geography, with locations. Gia says, I saw in the documentary video how a rich and famous person in the USA captivated lots of kids on his island for bad things. Graham says, oh yes, we are being made to give out our ID to use internet. That's what that person said. Start if digital ID, then comes digital currency. Oh, wow. I mean, it's kind of good for the kids, right? So you won't have kids online that shouldn't be. I mean, it has its pros and cons. Gia says, I don't remember that rich guy's name, but yes, he captivated lots of kids on his private island. And Graham says, scan the faces too. Matt Turner, he says, go Jesus. World Economic Forum plan. Okay. Graham says that's the smoke screen. They don't care about the kids. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, I totally forgot about that, and I was going to ask you. So I'm glad I remembered. I don't know Adolf Hitler, Matt, to give you my thoughts. Graham says it's silencing freedom of speech is what it's doing. Wow. It's about control. Matt says, did you ever try mayonnaise on bagels? No. I don't really like bagels at all. I don't like the texture of a bagel. Gia says they're made of sugar. I like eggs, tortillas, flour preferably, um, chicken, meat, beef, pork, vegetables. Matt, you're not smelling the water. You must be smelling your like nose or your upper lip or something. Because water doesn't smell. Occasionally I have a bagel, and I prefer the cinnamon raisin bagel, and it's got to be toasted so it changes the consistency of the bagel. Where do you live at, Matt? Indian reservation. You know what? I live around Indian reservations, but I've never turned the water on. Like I've never had a reason to be on the reservation at all. Gabe says it's all about the 3 cheese bagel. And Graham says probably didn't get that last comment either. No, I didn't, Graham. And then I've got to have the strawberry cream cheese on top of my cinnamon raisin toasted bagel. That's the only way I will have it. The only bagel I will have, and the only way I will have it. Gabe said he likes a 3 cheese bagel. I wonder if I have the ingredients to make green chili chicken enchiladas. If I have those ingredients, that's what I'm making. Whatever. Everyone's just talking about whatever, Matt. Graham says we are in trouble here in England, though we have started rising up. Shouldn't poke that lion. I'm glad you guys are rising up, Graham. Can you cook that now? I want to watch. I don't know. I've been on here too long already. So probably not. I think I've made... Did I make a video on that, you guys, already? I may have. What I'll end up doing is, hopefully I have some kind of green sauce, green chili, sour cream, chicken stock. So that means I'm going to boil my chicken. And it should cook fast because it's boneless. Are you gonna start watching football this NFL season? I do every year, Gabe, at my brother's house. He always gets the NFL ticket or whatever. So yeah, I watch it at my brother's house. Every Sunday. I watch it every Sunday for sure. Sometimes I catch a Monday night. Sometimes I catch Thursday night. But always Sunday. Matt says boiling chicken. That's the most uncultured thing I've heard since mayonnaise on bagels. Yep. It's boiled chicken for chicken enchiladas. And then you shred it. Graham says, give the peasants bread and circuses, and they shall not revolt. I'm going to have to ask. You know what? I'm going to message someone right now. Oh my gosh, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? The stadium is a new collusion. Kaleem, hello. Gabe says, try to watch No and Be Your Football. It attracts men. Oh, I've been watching since I was a teenager, Gabe. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. So I've been watching for many, many years. Yep. I've been watching since at least 1996, I'll say. Maybe 1995. That makes me sound really old. Oh my goodness, that does make me sound really old. Yep. I'm old, Matt. I'm very old. And it's just not, my age has not caught up to me yet. Is that how I want to say it? I'm still thinking I'm 26 years old, 28. Graham says, I'm aging in reverse. Well, that's what I tell myself anyway. I think so too, Graham. I can't get over it, what my age is. now that I'm back on a dating site, I'm telling you, I'm like, this is my age. So this is the age group. This is what the people my age look like. Benjamin Button. Who is that? I don't know where the time goes. I'm on a dating app, Matt Turner. Not YouTube. I'm in a dating app. But I like to talk about my singleness in relation to Jesus Christ, because a lot of us have come together because we're single. That's the reason most of us are here. Because if I had a husband, I would be spending time with my spouse. Personally. What is the emoji? Graham doesn't want to live forever. Yeah, I don't want to live forever either, but by the time I find my husband, I hope to spend many celebrate many anniversaries. So I do need to live. I do need to live a long time. You know, I don't know how long is long, but Gabe used to be on dating apps. Oh, I think I tried Christian Mingle, but the area that I live in, hardly anybody uses that app. So I wasn't going to find anybody. It was like, I live in the desert, but Christian Mingle was really a desert. There was no one. Nobody but me. Gabe, okay. The first time I tried a dating app was it 7 years ago? 7 or 8 years ago. It was like, oh my goodness, what did I get myself into? It was craziness. And now I do think it's also a different vibe this time around. Do I have it on here? Let me see. I was going to show you a picture of the cactus, Gabe, but I don't have it saved. Graham says men aren't turning up to dates much anymore, are they? Oh dear, what happened? I don't know, it's just a different vibe. Matt, let me tell you this. And maybe I need to change. This is something that I need to change. But someone who's calling me dear, That's not attractive. He said, "Would you marry me, my dear?" Graham says feminism. Oh, okay. This is the interesting thing that I have found in the dating app. Some people are straight up saying they don't want to be with a MAGA person, which I find interesting because it's kind of the opposite of what you just said, Graham. A lot of them are saying that they're 420 friendly. And that to me is a total like X out. I think it's some pretty cool stuff. Remember, it's very foreign to me. Oh, you think the cactus are cool? Graham says went too far and men are fed up. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's different, definitely. It's more political this time around on the dating app than it was 7 or 8 years ago. That's for sure. But you know what? It is better to know sooner than later. Me being a Republican now, if they're not a Republican, it ain't gonna work. Just like it's not gonna work if you're not a Christian. The giant Arizona ones, yes. Maybe I need to post that picture on. No, it's not gonna help. Let me show you the picture if I have it over here. Because I thought I had just saved it down to my other phone. Where are you at? The desert. Okay, you can't really see them. But that's the desert with the big cactus. That was a sunset. Robert, why don't you trust the dating app? Graham says letting political views determine your relationships. Forget those fools anyways. And Matt said that's it. I'm going back to men. Ooh. Graham says divide and conquer tactics. At work, I see. Graham likes the photo. Oh my goodness. I have not seen you in a long time, Ed. But I remember that profile picture, and I remember you always talking about Gandhi. Robert says, I'd rather get to know a person on a friendship level before I start dating. That might work, Robert. Me personally, if I'm a friend with someone, I can't see myself in a relationship with them if we start out as friends. But maybe that's another one of my problems. Graham says Matt is a human dog. Gabe says I have met up with females whose pictures from the app was from 10 years ago. Gabe, the same with the guys. They have pictures from like when they were in high school, and I'm like, what was the point of you showing me your high school picture? I want to know what you look like right now. You gotta avoid the friend zone. Yeah, once you become a friend, it's like you don't want to. I guess it's tricky. You want to be with someone who can be your best friend, but you don't want to start. It's hard to start out as best friends. Robert says, I don't want to rush into a relationship with anybody. And Graham says, gotta stay mysterious or women lose interest. Oh, goodness. Graham, Graham, who hasn't dated in what, 11 years? You know all the tricks, huh? It was funny because I, the last person I was with, they kept saying that they would get bored with the women they were in a relationship with. And I'm like, okay. I was actually bored with him. He he didn't do anything exciting in his life. No, okay, Graham says, well, it's been working for me lately. And Gabe says, I also noticed they all of a sudden want you when you go, oh, screw it, and move on from one being friend zone. So basically, they want what they can't have at that point. Is that what you're saying, Gabe? Sometimes. Maybe that's in general, but I don't know. I think very differently. Graham says, I was single on purpose. The start of the year, I decided to have some fun. Yep, I remember, and you took us along with you, Graham. You know what? Maybe I have been that way, Gabe. No. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping and praying for the right person moving forward. Doesn't matter where I was before. Graham says, then I fell for Yasmin. Gabe says, I've had too much. Oh. Gabe has had too much fun. Robert says, but for now, focus on God and you. That's what I'm doing, Robert. And I even took it a little bit further. And every Saturday morning, I've been studying Proverbs 31 woman from the Bible and reading this book. It says 31 prayers for my future husband. Yeah, I'm taking taking my time with God to a whole nother level that I've never done before. I don't want marriage or more children, so we will see how that pans out, though, in sticking to that. Sorry, you guys. Robert says virtuous woman in Proverbs 31:10-31. Yep, that's what I'm studying. I do want marriage. I don't want children, but that's not for me to really control. That's up to God. All of it is up to God. I'm just praying, y'all. I don't want to be alone. Robert says, Song of Solomon 8:4. I charge thee, O daughters of Jerusalem, do not awaken or stir love before its time. Yep. Graham says, with government involved in marriage, then no chance I'm doing it. Over here, there are some places that say if you live together and even if you're not you're not married, you're technically married, living together. I don't know what that's called. But I don't want to live with anyone unless I am married. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, y'all. Get back to the basics. Because the first time around, I did not get married. I lived with my son's father, and it just didn't work out. All right, y'all. I think I'm going to end here. I've been on for 3 hours. Almost. Almost 3 hours. Thank you, Robert. He said he's sorry my relationship didn't work out. I'm going to go start dinner and see what's going on with my child. He's playing basketball with his friends, but he's been gone a long time. Oh, all right. Thank you so much for keeping me company. Graham says all a woman had to do here is have her post delivered to your address for 6 months. Then she can take the man for everything he has. Whoa, that is crazy, Graham. Yeah, I might come on later, you guys. I might surprise myself and come on really late. But yes, I'm going to go get myself some dinner. Thank you. I send y'all peace and know that Jesus Christ loves you the most.